then we'll open it up.
Yeah, well, last weekend, thought we played well. It was nice to have a close game against Texas A&M. I think we needed to feel that. I'm proud of how our pitchers threw this weekend. We really came out strong on Sunday and set a tone early, and was pretty smothering. I was really excited to see how we came out that way. Team looked really free. They looked really fresh. Looking forward to this weekend, kind of the same type of attitude. It's nice to be at home, sellout crowd within the first 10 minutes or so. So I like where we're sitting. We got to use our momentum, but we also, we've been studying quite a bit and looking forward to some really great competition. UCF is a very good team. Watching them on video, they're very well rounded. They've got a lot of weapons.
We'll start with Graham Hayes, actually.
Hi, Patty. I wanted to ask you about Jordy. Obviously, at first status has changed at all, but also beyond that, just when you have somebody as driven and as competitive as she is, and who can't help her team in the way she's used to, what kind of conversations have you been having with her just about how to get through this particular challenge?
Yeah. Well, the good news is Jordy's been throwing a little bit in the bullpen, and we're very optimistic about, I don't know exactly when, but we're optimistic she's going to be able to help this team. She is a competitor. She's extremely frustrated. She wants to get back where she was right now, and it's not the right way to do it. So we've got to get her to listen to what the doctor's saying, listen to what the trainer and the coaches are saying, and just be patient. That's what it's going to take. But if her attitude is, I want to go 100% right now, and we're not able to do that at this moment, but she's working towards that. And that is better news than I thought that I would have going forward. So we're excited.
Appreciate it.
We'll go Joe Bettner.
Patty, wanted to ask you a little bit. I know you've touched on NIL a little bit this season, but last weekend you have 4 players that have jersey T-shirts with their names on the back. What does that mean for you all as a program, and to just kind of see where the sports come, for that to be a reality where some of your student athletes have their names on the back of jerseys that?
Yeah. One, the fact that they're making money off of their literal name on the back of a jersey is something that we only knew happened in like pro male sports. So to see those jerseys hanging here around the stadium or in the bookstore is really exciting. And just to see that it's a female athlete's name. And that's been happening with, say, USA Soccer and the WNBA, and some like girls are wearing females jerseys. But I'm watching a lot of guys wearing the Home Run Queen T-shirt, and it's really pretty cool to see. I would never think, back in the day, just it wasn't even thought of. So the direction, sometimes there's some directions that college athletics is going in that it's like you're holding your breath, and there's others like this that it's like really cool. It's like another one of those arrival moments, like, wow, is this really happening right now?
Just to quickly follow up, how have you seen your team manage some of the, not manage the NIL deals, but just dealing with trying to stay focused on softball while accruing those deals throughout the season?
We don't talk about it a lot, and I know a lot of them are making significant money for their age, and I just keep my eye on them. And if I feel somebody looks distracted or tired, I might pull them aside and say, tell me what's going on. I haven't really had to do that. I haven't felt one individual just out in space. And so not really dealt with it quite yet, luckily.
Gotcha. Thanks, Patty.
We'll go Cliff Brunt.
Yeah, Coach, wanted to know what makes Jocelyn different than other people who have hit a lot of home runs. There's a lot of people who've done it, but very few have hit with the average that she's hit. Just what is it specifically in terms of whether it be physical or vision or whatever it is that makes her different than the rest?
Yeah, she definitely is physical. She was born that way. She's very strong for a female, very strong. Her legs are just, and just lower half extremely strong. That really catapults her swing. She's got a really good sense about her, but she also is extremely competitive. So if a pitcher gets her once, in her mind, she doesn't go in the dugout and pout about it or gripe about it. She's already back calculating what she's going to do in her next at bat. And she's very prideful in saying, like, you can't get me more than once. And if you do, then I will get you. Like, that's her mentality. So it's prideful, but it's also one that she knows we need her. She knows we can count on her to come up big at times. So just maturity as well. Like, she doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low in anything that she does.
But then how does she hit 500 and hit these kinds of home runs? Like, usually you've got somebody that's one or the other. They're hitting for average or they're hitting for power.
She walks, yeah, she walks a lot. So that helps. But the one thing that she doesn't do is always try to hit home runs. So if she did try to hit home runs all the time, she would be hitting a lot of skyrocketing fly balls for outs. So she just wants to get good connection, and she loves home runs, but she likes to hit a ball through a gap because she gets to run, and she wants to show people that she's faster than you think she is. So
We'll go Eric Bailey.
She can bunt too, right, Coach? We know that, right?
yes, sure. Yes.
We've seen. I wanted to ask you, can you talk about just how invaluable the relationship is with Coach Rocha during the postseason? What's her biggest strengths, both in preparation and then in-game adjustments?
I would say her experience is beyond, just beyond phenomenal for us, because she's been in a lot of championship games, whether it's here or at Florida. She was always playing for championships quite a bit. So she knows what it feels like. She puts in the work. And we were just talking about this the other day, how our families have to take a back seat to us when we're at home. And she's got a little girl. So she, our spouses are so important to us, to allow us to get the extra time we need, because we can't always do it during the day when we have practice or have other things to do in the office. So she puts in the time, puts in the work, and her experience, she understands strategy. She understands how to use our best against your best. And normally she's the winner of those challenges. So again, to pride and the fact that she wants to win, and she's worked very, very hard with this pitching staff. So she's trying to put them in the best position to win every time they're on the mound.
We see you every year. You're conditioned to play softball this time of year. You did it last year. Think back to 2020. How tough was it this time of year in 2020 when you had no softball? And is it nice to be back in this routine right now?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that the 2020 year that we had off, so many people were missing softball that when we came back in 2021, and it led to a lot more fans. And then now we're living in a world that I couldn't even imagine up to even 5 years ago. We are drawing crowds everywhere we go, extremely popular, a lot of fans from now all over the country that are reaching out to us. And it's been pretty amazing to see that. And at the same time, it's tough. It's tough. And I'm not complaining because we love our fans, but you just want to do everything for them. You know, they want this sign, they want this picture, they want you to do a video for their great granddaughter, you know, like there are times where you have to say, I'm sorry, I gotta get, you know, and that's what we're kind of struggling with at times, is that you just feel bad saying no, but you know, sometimes you have to, because otherwise we would be here 3 hours after game time.
Patty, thanks so much. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
I will go Jesse Crittenden.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
Good.
I appreciate your time. Just wanted to ask you, you mentioned after the game on Sunday just how much of a complete performance that was from you guys. And I'm sure you'd like to win every game like that. But is there some value to, you know, obviously that first game against Texas Tech or Texas A&M, it's a low scoring game, you know, it goes all 7. Is there some value to almost having both sides of the spectrum like that in terms of outcome, you know, against the same team back to back, especially as you go through the rest of the postseason? Is there value in that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I would say absolutely yes. So the 3-2 game was a close game and we were fighting and kind of a nail biter and we got out of it. Then we come back the next day and what we did created so much momentum. And you just felt every player in the dugout, like, I'm not making the last out. I'm not making the last, you know, here, I did my thing, here, your turn. Like, nobody wanted to be that person. I feel that energy and adrenaline will lead us into this weekend. But it's a different kind of team, completely different UCF in the way of they've got speed, they've got power. They're very aggressive on the base pass. Your defense has to be really good. Your pitching has to keep them off balance. You're going to have to do things really well in order to contain them. And you just can't get fooled by the name. You know, everybody's used to the UCLA and the Arizonas and Alabamas, and you look at the landscape of softball at this moment right now, Florida State, Alabama, some of those big names you expect to be in it are not. And UCF is a big reason why the landscape is changing, and you just can't pretend like they're not a team that doesn't belong, because they do. Just because you're not a Power 5 doesn't mean you can't win a national championship. And they've got an underdog approach, and we understand that. And whatever comes out of this, I know that they're going to make us better. We're going to have to play really well.
Right. You touched on obviously having UCF this weekend, obviously some of the upsets even from last weekend. When you go into a series like this, you know, like this weekend, you know, talking about Texas A&M, you had kind of two different ends of the spectrum from one game to the next. Is that something you have to emphasize, you know, to your team, or that you emphasize that, you know, you have to take it one game at a time, they can vary wildly, or is that something you've seen them be able to have that mindset on their own? Just what is that dynamic like?
Yeah, I've got a pretty mature team, and they've all been around for a couple of years, so I don't need to say too much, but we certainly do touch on it. And the most important game of the series is the first game. So we want to be at our best. We want to be feeling good and fresh and healthy and educated on what's coming, and poised and free and loose and fast and everything that goes with it. That is the plan right now.
I appreciate it, Patty.
Thanks.
I will go Jenny Carlson.
Sorry. Hey, Patty, you were actually talking a little bit about Jocelyn and her strength, but if you look up and down your lineup, you have a lot of gals that have that strength sort of mid core down through their legs. I'm wondering if you could just share what it is with the strength program, what you guys work on from maybe the time somebody arrives to, you know, those first couple years to try to increase that power core, because it looks like all of your gals have have some strength in their bodies that maybe you don't see all around college softball.
Well, we'll take that as a great compliment for sure. Our strength coach, Dane Summer, and he's a former baseball player. He's relatively young, but his father was a longtime football strength coach at TCU. So he grew up in that atmosphere and environment. He was a graduate assistant here at OU with strength and conditioning, and they gave him to us, and he was fantastic. And he is now our full-time strength coach. But he works a lot like me in a sense, where he's expecting, his expectations are big. He's not trying to make them look like men or anything. He's just really, his goal is to work on the areas that we really need in order to create power, and that is lower half and core specifically. So he has been outstanding, and his knowledge of the game, like relating baseball to softball, has been really helpful as well.
Does he do similar things with all of the players? Or, I mean, I know everybody's bodies are different, and you do have some with a bigger frame, taller frame, some that are more speed. So I assume it varies somewhat, but do you have some similar approaches with building that strength in all the players?
Yeah, I mean, we do look at them differently. There's some that are more made for slapping speed type work. There's others that we think of, like, who are your hybrids, like your Jada Colemans, who can run, who can slap, but also hit it out. Riley Boone can do the same thing. And then you think of your Kenzie Hansons, your Jocelyn Allos, your Gianna Johns, Grace Green, kids like that. Grace Lyons has turned into that. I mean, these guys were not always big. Grace Lyons would maybe hit 10, 11, 12. Her power has changed and has turned her into a power hitter. So we know what they can do on the field, and I think we do a good job, or he does a good job of knowing what they need to be great at it. And some need more speed, some need more strength.
I know that they're building strength and power, but is there something sort of symbolically powerful for you to see these women have that kind of body, that kind of strength, inherent within themselves?
I just have to tell you how far the sport has come and how now it's so specifically trained. When I first got here, we're sharing the football weight room, trained like football players, and it just didn't work. We had injuries, we had a lot of things go wrong for us. So to be very sport specific and then watch the athleticism in front of me every day is a wow factor for me. Just to see, just within the last 8 years, how strong they are compared to, say, 2013. They were strong, but not like this. I mean, you can see their legs through their pants, just going like, geez Louise. It's just like bicycle, like Peloton legs, or bike, those that ride bikes a lot, and their legs are just strong. Now they don't apologize for them. Some girls would go, oh gosh, I know they don't apologize for their strength in their legs, for sure.
I've seen those legs. I don't have them, but just because I can't possibly acquire them. So I'm jealous.
I totally agree. I understand. I just admire from afar, because there's no shot of me. No. I get it.
Thanks, Patty.
Yeah.
A few more here. We got Ryan Aber.
Yeah, Patty, I wanted to ask you about Nicole May. How much better prepared is she going into this super regional than she was a year ago, and how valuable is having that experience on this staff right now? Given the other pitchers that you've got haven't been at this level.
She's the elder, and she's only a sophomore, so she's done a good job of sharing her knowledge. I think the difference maker she's feeling healthy. She had some knee issues late in the season last year and a little bit early in the season this year. So I feel like she's been feeling very healthy and good. I also think her mindset is much stronger. Things don't bleed into her thoughts anymore. I think she used to think a little bit too much, or more of pitching not to lose versus pitching to win. There's definitely a big difference there. And I feel every time she's on the mound, she just keeps getting better, especially probably in the last 3 weeks or so. She's been really, really good.
And she mentioned some of the I don't know, sports psychology type coaching that goes on there. How has that evolved for you as a coach, and just how valuable do you feel like some of those things have been, sort of looking at the on the field performance?
Yeah, we've always believed in it. We've always used it. We've got a great pros office here. It's just getting their mind, it's just getting them confidence and simplifying things, and sometimes these pitchers, they'll analyze everything and, oh, I should have done that. I should have done that, instead of just stop talking and just do it. And it sounds easy, but it's not, especially when you're on the mound and everything is, revolving around you. And I think Nicole May and Hope have really simplified pitching, specifically over the last 3 weeks or so, and it's really shown.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Patty. Good luck
Sure.
this weekend.
Thank you.
We'll go Jason Patacchio.
Hey, Patty, how you doing today?
Good.
I wanted to kind of ask you a question about Jada Coleman. Obviously she's entering kind of her second championship run with you guys. What do you feel like has been the biggest change from her, from a leadership perspective, from year 1 to year 2? And how has that kind of helped sustain your guys' championship mindset?
I think she's matured a bit from her freshman year. She just came in kind of in her own world and playing in her own world. And then she learned that she had to kind of follow along with what we're doing. She has so much energy and passion, and she's been really hot the last couple of weekends. Been really excited about what she's been doing. I think after the Big 12 tournament, she wasn't happy with her performance there and has really reset herself and has done a really fantastic job of gaining back that leadoff position and being a spark plug for us. So I think just knowing when to reset, when to be a little more calm, and just that maturity factor has been a big difference for her.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. I know you kind of mentioned that the team kind of had to have a reset after the Big 12 tournament. As you guys get up the totem all the way up to the Women's College World Series, how are you kind of handling, in terms of a hitting perspective, like managing the pressure, but also staying locked in from an offensive standpoint and not allowing those nerves to kind of fall into the lineup?
Yeah, well, again, I do have a versed team who's quite a few of them are returners. I think for us, we understand that we haven't peaked yet, and they don't want the season to be over without peaking. And I think you saw a bit of that look and what it could look like on Sunday. So that is that. And also the drive to want to get to the World Series. And this is the toughest weekend of them all, is this weekend that gets you there. And you've got to be playing your best. You got to be locked in. Can't be tired. You can't be hot. You can't be complaining. You can't be sore. And if you are any of those things, no one cares. Get over it and get your job done. That's really ultimately, this is it. If you, from this moment now, it's like win or you're done. So we don't want our season to be over, and you can feel it on the field, the way they're working. I feel like they're very prepared and ready to go.
Awesome. Thank you, Patty.
Thanks.
I think we'll go last one, James Hale.
Patty, how you doing? I hope things are going good with you. UCF, they look pretty good to me. Talking to other people, your thoughts on them? They come in as the 16th seed, but they look forward to playing you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't expect anything else. They play a very tough schedule, to their credit, and it has paid off for them. They've won some big games, and I'm not going to say they're under the radar, because they're not anymore. They're playing, I think they were playing for the championship against Wichita State, who's a big hitting team. They play some tight games, but they always seem to find a way to come through it, and they played a good Michigan team. They were not intimidated. They were celebrating the opportunity to play at home. They deserved it. They earned it, and they used the opportunity very well. So they're good. They're, like I said, they're good. And in order to stop them offensively, we've got to be good on the mound. We've got to be really good on defense. We've got to be heads up and ready for anything. Offensively, their pitchers are outstanding, and they've got more than a few that can do the job. So we just got to stick with our game plan, continue to trust in the training that we're doing, allow the crowd to engage the way they normally do, and really create what we feel is going to be a home field advantage.
Patty, your throw game, they look like they run well to me. Go first to third. I haven't watched them enough to know if they steal, but it looks like they challenge trying to go to home. Your throw game's going to have to be gone, do you think?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I've got three outstanding catchers with great arms and good command. So we love that stuff. We look forward to it defensively. We like to be challenged defensively. There's no one that enjoys this stuff more than Grace Lyons. This is where she gets to showcase herself. Our infield is really good, very athletic. Our outfield, I believe, is one of the best in the country. So we are always up to challenges and ready to play. I think it's fun. That's what you want when you're in big games, to be challenged and getting opportunities to make big plays.
I just got done with my show. So final question. What's the latest on Jordy and Kenzie?
Jordy has been in the bullpen throwing pitches. So we're really excited about that. Still too early for me to call, but she has definitely been throwing. Kenzie Hansen is nursing a little bit of an ankle, but she was catching today and swinging today. So I definitely feel Kenzie will be ready to go for the weekend.
It's going to be fun. Thanks, Patty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.